The two athletes, hands fully extended and moving this thing at a decent clip.
With your hands extended, you can drop your hips a little bit more, and I think that's the approach they're all taking. But that's a tremendous amount of pressure against your hands, your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders, your upper back.
If you follow Jerry Pritchett on Instagram, you may have seen him practicing this. He works as a metal fabricator for a public utilities transportation department in his home state of Arizona. He rigged up a barrel that he attached to his truck, and he would push his truck up a hill to sort of simulate this. So he's kind of practiced this kind of movement.
Well, that just means he's preparing. He's a professional.
Matjaž Belšak still has the top mark, but we are early. This is only our third of 9 athletes to go here. 105 feet 6 inches is the top mark, and we're inside now 5 seconds for Jerry Pritchett. And Pritchett is done.
Just wait. He gets his hips down. He's going to create a lot of forward force. He's got it moving. Notice how it's one leg at a time, So it's just, really all that force goes on one hip and one knee at a time. So he's just on one foot for each push.
Shaw off to a pretty solid start here.
Quite good, actually. Very low position for a man of his height. That's a lot of leverage.
20 seconds to go now for Brian Shaw. Moving at a very steady clip and continuing to gain distance. And now,
okay, the pain is set in. He's going to this other technique as a tall man. That might not work for him because of his height.
Shaw, by any means necessary, just trying to move that thing, and that'll be it.
Push.
Kalisz Koski's tied for 8th after those first 2 events. Needs to start scoring some points to start moving himself up the leaderboard, and he will start the same way as Belšak did, with his arms fully extended, digging in to push that wheel of pain around. And those wheels are not solid. The wheels on which this thing turns are filled with 150 pounds of sand. That means you can't get any momentum on this thing.
No, the sand rocks back against you, so you have to continually overcome that friction and that rocking back of the sand. But notice that that matting is actually overlaid to give some grooves for the athlete to push their feet against. Now going to the shoulders.
Inside 20 seconds to go for Kalisz Koski, trying to beat Matjaž Belšak's mark of 105 feet 6 inches.
Notice the laser hanging down on the implement.
It's at the bottom of that sculpted creature's head, and that helps the judges mark how far Kalisz Koski gets. That thing will. Ronald Heinle from Estonia up next. The top mark belongs to Martins Lisis, 119 feet 9 inches.
He's got a little bit of momentum going, as much as you can create. He's good and low. Looks like he's got a good breathing pattern going.
35 years old.
He's got really good hip flexor strength, as you can see in his deadlift technique. Now he's down to the shoulders, but still good low hips.
And he continues to move forward.
Yes. So you take out the weaker musculature of the shoulders and pushing the implement, but your hips come a little bit higher, and you can't lean into it quite as much when you go to this technique, but it does help create a little more force forward, and that it's on your shoulders. And each of the athletes appear to also have learned that they can push against their thighs. That's just happening. He's not thinking about that. He's just doing everything he can to overcome this implement.
Final seconds for Heinle.
Breathing hard, in, out.
And he is done.
Wow.
113 feet. And now, Mikhail Shivlikov, who is a man who went with that similar technique that Novikov used on Thursday night, but choosing to change things up a little bit here at the start.
So he started with his hands out. Now he's put his hands in. He's just got his shoulders a little bit closer. But he has an indomitable will. He's gonna keep pushing here in a moment.
And now taking a break and getting that thing moving again.
There's no momentum advantage here. That sand starts to move and friction starts to take hold.
And now going with a similar technique to Novikov.
even pushing his hands off of his thighs.
To learn a new technique.
He's using his whole body.
He's past Pritchett.
6,
5 seconds to go.
2,
It looks like 30 in the morning, and this place was packed. About 5 minutes later, make sure that Maciej Belshak is actually going to be up first.
give him some energy.
And he has a minute to go, and with those arms extended, he has that thing moving pretty well.
Looks like his belt has come off from around his waist.
5 seconds, he's already gone 29 feet.
But notice his hips are very low, and he's pushing up. Now he's got his shoulder against it. His shoulder girdle started to get weakened. So now he's got his shoulder against it. You have to be a little creative with this event. You're just matching the event, matching this implement, doing everything you can to make movement forward, forward, forward.
Inside 20 seconds to go for Maciej Belshak, who has kept this thing moving at a pretty consistent pace, but now starting to slow. Final seconds for Belshak.
5 seconds, 3,
And he is still giving this thing all he is worth, and that will do it. They will. But he is one of the lighter athletes here, just 302 pounds, 137 kilograms. And now going with his head underneath it, we saw Mikhail Shivlikov do the same thing on Thursday night. It seems to be working pretty well for Novikov.
Now this is an approach that I don't think we've discussed. Shoulders on it, but with his head under the implement. I hope the other guys are watching.
And Novikov is threatening to demolish Maciej Belshak's top distance. He's past Pritchett. His pace has slowed, but he has about 20 seconds to go. That's how far away he is from Belshak's top mark.
Resetting a little bit. Every step is points. He could take the lead.
5 seconds for Belshak, and he will be your new leader. I'm sorry, that's Novikov. He passes Belshak. So Alexei Novikov once again with an impressive performance. And here we go.
Afterwards from Iceland, he's going to call on a lot of spirit. In Icelandic, they say "Komasar," which means "come on, let's go."
Bjornsson moving extremely well here. As long as he doesn't finish towards the bottom, he will remain your overall leader. And now he's starting to get to the tail end of things as he's chasing down Jerry Pritchett and Brian Shaw, and now going to that style we first saw that Alexei Novikov employ. Inside 30 seconds.
20 seconds. There he goes. He passes Pritchett.
This one will be close.
Yes, every name that he passes is points. But he's keeping it going. He's got his shoulders against it. He's keeping his hips low, even for a tall man.
That's where Lisi's nameplate is, and Bjornsson is quickly approaching that final seconds. And Hafthor Bjornsson may not have gotten there, but he was close. He might have been a few inches short. And Martins Lisis is ready to go, and he will try to chase down Alexei Novikov's top mark of 113 feet.
Got a good start. Hips are low, very good leverages. He's pushing up on this implement.
Lisis with a good pace.
Yes, he does. And as you saw yesterday with the Husafell stone, he's got that good rhythmic breathing, forcing air in, pulling air, forcing air into his lungs and pushing air out of his lungs.
30 seconds. He's past Pritchett. Pritchett's mark was 76 feet 9 inches.
This is where it comes down to will. What does he want to do with this implement is up to him at this point.
He's now past Brian Shaw. Shaw's mark of 95 feet. And he's creeping up on Alexei Novikov. And Martins Lisis looks like he will be your new leader. And he still has some time, and he is done. But Martins Lisis overtakes. He is climbing now the wheel of pain after conquering this implement. Crush your enemies. See them driven before you and hear the lamentations of the women.